Welcome back, everyone. This is update 0.59. Just a quick apology to the European folks who are using the European keyboard layout. I moved the menu function to the tilde key, which many of them don't have in that keyboard layout. So my apologies. I have added a function now. You can hit enter key to bring this up. And then for those of you who use the numpad, you can also use the numlock button to trigger this menu. So now you have these options. I will be implementing a full key binding utility where you can choose whatever key you want to bind to all those that are shown on the right here. So yeah, just get that out of the way. Again, sorry. So for this update, we have a lot of new props. First one I want to share with you is the floating custom text object. So if you go bring up your menu, if you go to stage markers, you see this thing called custom text. Now there were requests from some, let me just put it, bind it to my shortcut bar here. There are some requests for ability to add your own text instead of having, you know, like let's say a target with this T1 here. Some people don't want a T1, they want to call it maybe A1 or engage first or whatever text you need. So instead of that, you can hide it and press Y to hide the text, and then you drop the custom text to anywhere you want. It's a little bit high up here. If you want to increase, you can just hit T and then G to lower, just like any other prop. So what you do is you just drop it here, and then if you highlight it, you can change the colors, right? You can change it to red, whatever color you want, green. And if you want to change the text, you hit I, and then there's a text box here that appears on top that you can type whatever you want. So let's say target A or something like that, you know, so you can now have this text floating on top. So then you can then customize your text and put whatever you want here, which is a pretty cool feature. The next update is the medium gray grid ground texture. So if you hit escape, you go to change bay. Now you can select ground texture to medium gray, and it will show you this gray texture with white lines. I think somebody also requested for this, so I decided to put this in as well. And also made the HUD a lot more easier to see. As you can see, most of the text is now on top of a black border, a black background, so you can actually see it depending on what kind of color you're using in your bay. I think somebody was also providing some feedback that it was very hard to see that text. Just a reminder, you can hide that by hitting tab to hide the entire UI if you think that's too busy, and tap to bring it back. Right, then now for the bulk of the update, new props, new swinging and moving props. So essentially this was given to me by Dane, who is a mesh director, I believe, for IDPA. So he designs a lot of IDPA stages, and so he has given me suggestions for a few things. The first one is the IR sensor. Now you have a 2 meter IR sensor instead of a 1 meter one, so it's extended range if you like. So now this is a 2 meter sensor that you can just use as a trigger. So the next ones are IDPA swingers. So now you have an IDPA swinger left, swinger right, you have an IDPA drop turner, you have an IDPA clamshell, and you also have these 3 cool swinging objects, if you like, the IDPA out and back. And then let me just drop all of this here and we activate them all at the same time. And then we have this, this is called the Cascading 3 targets, and then an IDPA double swinger. Right, so let me show you how this work. Essentially this one's here, when you activate, the target will pop up to the right and then go back and hide behind the target. Okay, so this is in USPSA we will call this a disappearing target. And then this cascading is basically when you activate this, one target will fall forward, then the next one will fall forward, and then the third one will fall forward. And then this one here is a double swinger. Essentially there are 2 swingers, one for the target and one for the no shoot, and they will swing in opposite directions. And so I also have the out and back and the cascading targets for USPSA and IPSC. You can find those in the relevant areas. You have the cascading 3 and then the USPSA out and back here in USPSA, and IPSC you have the same thing too, the out and back and the cascading 3. So let's wire this up. So let's drop a popper here, and then I'll go to activation mode and link all this together. And then this to this. So now I'm going to go to simulation mode F10. If I shoot this, first let's take a look at this one here. So it drops out, drops back in, and then cascading targets will go like this, and then the double swingers will go like this. And they will go at random speed, so it makes things a little bit more difficult to predict. Anyways, just wanted to show you these cool swingers. Thanks again, Dane, for the suggestion. Another change is if you want to give feedback, now I have a checkbox here that says whether you want to include your email or not instead of typing here, because I see some people forget to include the email address here. By default, this is on. If you don't want to include your email so that I don't reply to you, you can just turn it off. But you know, this is on by default. It will send me email with your feedback so that I can respond to you. I find I get a lot of response from people who don't provide an email. It's very hard to reach out and ask for more questions, if you like. Right? So hopefully this will help with troubleshooting. Also a bunch of bug fixes, things with target counts in IDPA written stage briefings. The prop selection, for instance, this menu did not persist at all. Every time it keeps going back to USPSA, so now I've changed that. I've also brightened the shortcut buttons at the bottom, and also here all these buttons have been brightened up. It used to be a little bit dark for some reason. And also now if you notice, some people were struggling with when changing the stage design. So for instance, if you change the dimensions of the bay, there are certain times where if you change, let's say, the dimensions to 20, you will find yourself outside of the bay. You'll find yourself that the bay is on the left hand side for some reason. So now I've basically made it so that every time you change your bay or load an existing bay design, you will be placed into the middle of the bay, so you'll never get lost anymore. So yeah, that's it. So this is update 0.59. Again, if you want to give me feedback, please go over to the menu, provide feedback here, or you can go to a Discord channel. The link to the Discord channel is in the YouTube description, and also you can send me email at info@ancientskygames.com. Apart from that, hope to see you on Discord. Hope you all have a great weekend. I have a match coming this Sunday, so very excited. Hopefully I can post some videos after that. So apart from that, see you on the range. Take care.